You're watching Big Brain Energy.
Have you ever noticed how people respond differently to different items? Say the price of petrol increases by 10%. People will buy less of it, but not much less. Whereas when the prices at a restaurant increases by 10%, way more people will stop eating out there. Why are the responses to a price increase so different? Well, because different items have different, what we call elasticities. And that's what we're going to dive into today. This is the first of a series of videos where we dive into elasticity of demand. We will cover price elasticity of demand, cross-price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, and the incidence of tax. This is everything you need to know for the elasticity topic within NCEA AS91401 3.3 Demonstrate Understanding of Microeconomic Concepts. Elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of consumers' demand for a product when its price changes. Basically, if the price of something increases, do people buy way less of it or just a little less? For AS 3.3, this is a definition that you'll need to memorize. Elasticity exists on a spectrum. This means that something isn't strictly inelastic or elastic. Rather, everything's a mixture of both, but leans towards one way or the other. If it is exactly in the middle, it is what we call unit elastic. Down one end of the spectrum are goods with inelastic demand. Inelastic demand means that a change in price will result in a proportionately smaller change in quantity demanded. So if the price of it increases, people will buy less, but not heaps less. This is a definition you'll need to memorize for the test. You can see on this graph that the change in price is a lot bigger than the change in quantity. Hence the definition that for items with inelastic demand, a change in price will result in a proportionately smaller change in quantity demanded. An inelastic demand curve is quite steep looking when you draw it. Things that typically have inelastic demand are items for which, when the price increases, you'll buy less, but not heaps less. For example, necessities, which are things that you have to buy, or items with not many substitutes, which are other options you could buy which fulfills the same need. Perishables, which are things which get consumed quickly, or addictive substances. Let's look at some examples of each. Necessities are things which you have to buy, even when it's expensive. For example, electricity, rent, or toilet paper. Even if toilet paper becomes really expensive, you still have to buy it, right? For items with not many substitutes, you really have no other option but to buy it if you want that thing. For example, petrol or school textbooks. If you have a regular car, petrol is the only thing you can fill it up with. You can't just, use cooking oil and hope for the best. Or if your teacher tells you to get a specific textbook, you have to buy that specific one. So even when the price increases, you don't have much of a choice but to buy it. Perishables means that you have to buy it within a short time frame. So you can't just wait out a price spike. For example, milk, or eggs, or an Uber at 2 a.m, or concert tickets. Like, if you want to go see Harry Styles, you're still going to buy the tickets even if the price increases a bit, because otherwise you'll miss out on your time frame to buy it. Same with an Uber at 2 a.m. You can't exactly just chill out in town for a few days while you wait for the price of Ubers to get cheaper. Finally, if something's addictive, then you're going to keep buying it regardless of the price. If you're addicted to alcohol, even when it's expensive, you'll still buy it. Cigarettes are another classic example here. They're pretty expensive, yet if you're a smoker, you still buy them. Same with caffeine. The price of coffees has increased quite a bit recently, and we might buy a little less, but if you're low-key dependent on your morning brew, you're still going to buy one. Let's look now at the other side of the spectrum, things with elastic demand. Elastic demand means that a change in price will result in a proportionately larger change in quantity demanded. So when the price increases, most people will just choose to buy less of it. An increase in price results in quite a big decrease in quantity demanded. You can see here that the change in quantity is proportionately larger than the change in price. Things with elastic demand have a flatter demand curve. What sorts of things might have elastic demand? These are things that, when the price increases, you'll buy heaps less of it. For example, luxury items, things that you buy as a treat, or items with many substitutes available, or durable items, which are things that last a long time. Let's look at examples of each. For luxury items, you don't have to buy them, so when it's more expensive, you just won't buy as much. For example, movie tickets, or eating out at restaurants or vacations. If the price of a movie ticket randomly increased to like $40, you just not go to the movies, right? Or at least not go as much. For items with many substitutes, if there's something else that does the job and it's cheaper, you'll simply just buy that one. For example, fast food. If the price of Macca's increased a lot, you'd just go to BK or KFC instead. Or branded sneakers. If the price of Nike sneakers soared, most people would just simply buy a different brand. Same with fizzy drinks. If the price of a Coke can increased, you just opt for Pepsi or Fanta or something. For durable items, things which last ages, you're usually not pressed by a time limit to buy them. So you can just wait until they go on sale. Things like furniture or cars or electronics like laptops. If you want to buy a new couch, for example, most people don't just go to the couch shop and buy a new couch that day, right? They'd probably wait till Boxing Day sales or when they can afford them. So if the price of couches soared randomly, we can just wait out the price spike. And that's basically all you need to know for this first section of Elasticity of Demand. Here's a summary of what you'll need to memorize for AS 3.3. Elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of consumers' demand for a product when its price changes. Inelastic demand means that a change in price will result in a proportionately smaller change in quantity demanded. For example, rent, petrol, movie tickets, or cigarettes. Inelastic demand curves are steep. Elastic demand means that a change in price will result in a proportionately larger change in quantity demanded. For example, movie tickets, Nike sneakers, or couches. Elastic demand curves are flatter. Let's put this new understanding into practice. Which of these items do you think is most elastic? Petrol, rent, or movie tickets? The answer is movie tickets. When the price increases for movie tickets, people would just choose to go to the movies less. Which of these items do you think is most inelastic? Laptops, school textbooks, or vacations? The answer is school textbooks. When the price increases for a textbook, you kind of have no other option but to buy it still. Which of these items do you think is most elastic? Taylor Swift Eras Tour tickets, bubble tea, or bus tickets? The answer is bubble tea. When the price of bubble tea increases, you just choose to get something else instead. Which of these items do you think is most inelastic? Milk, Netflix subscriptions, or St. Pierre's chicken on rice? The answer is milk. When the price of milk increases, you can't just wait out the price spike, you have to buy it if you want milk. Arguably, though, St. Pierre's chicken on rice is a necessity. Let's take this back to the start. When the price of petrol increases by 10%, people don't buy much less petrol. When the prices at a restaurant increases by 10%, they'll get way less customers. Why are the responses to a price increase so different? Well, as you now know, different items have different elasticities. Petrol is likely more inelastic, and restaurants are likely more elastic. That's all for this topic. Next, we'll be covering price elasticity of demand, which is when we calculate elasticity so that we can measure exactly how elastic it is. If you have any questions about what we've covered, drop it in the comments below and we'll reply to you. If you have a topic you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more big brain energy.